At some point, retirement stops being a number and starts being a feeling that time matters more than it used to. That energy is something you're more careful with now. And the decisions that you make today carry a little more weight than they did once before. Not because something is wrong, but because the perspective changes. And if you found yourself thinking about income differently lately, not desperately, just more thoughtfully, this conversation is for you. Because this isn't about starting over, it's about chasing something new. It's about choosing something that actually fits this season of life. And halfway through this video, I want to share why digital products finally made sense to me, not as a trend, not as a shortcut, but as a practical option when retirement started feeling a little closer than it used to. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Celine. I'm a mom of two, a nana to three, and I work in the corporate world. For most of my adult life, I did exactly what I believed I was supposed to do. I worked, I showed up, I stayed responsible. I didn't chase risky ideas, I didn't gamble with my future, I didn't look for shortcuts. And yet somehow, along the way, I noticed something quietly unsettling. I had done everything right, and retirement still felt uncertain. Not dramatic, not panic-induced, just tight. And if that word resonates with you, you're not alone. I'll explain more about how I approach this in a minute. And I also put a simple starting point in the description below for anyone who wants to see the bigger picture without overwhelm. Most people don't talk about being short on retirement. Not because they failed, but because life doesn't unfold in neat, predictable lines. Careers shift, health changes, family needs appear unexpectedly. Sometimes you simply couldn't save the way the spreadsheets said you should, and eventually the question changes. It's no longer how much do I want to make someday? It becomes, how do I create options from where I am right now? That was the moment things shifted for me. That's when I realized I didn't need more ideas. I needed a clear path. That's why I always point people to the Freedom Formula Blueprint first. It lays out the landscape in a way that actually makes sense. It's linked below in the description if you want to come back to it later. Hustle feels different now. When we're younger, effort feels endless. You can push, you can grind, you can recover. But later in life, effort has a cost, not just physical, emotional, and mental. Most people watching aren't afraid of work. They're tired of work that doesn't move the needle. They're tired of effort that resets to zero every single day. They don't want to do more. They want to do something smarter. The problem with most income options. Let's talk honestly about the usual suggestions. Another job means more time, more structure, more exhaustion. A physical business often means inventory, overhead, employees, and more stress. Even many side hustles rely on constant presence. If you don't show up, the income stops. Most traditional income models are linear. Time in, money out. And when time becomes your most valuable resource, that model starts to feel really heavy. The question that changed everything. The shift for me started with one simple question. What could I build once that doesn't depend on me being there every single time? Not something flashy, not something risky, just something repeatable. something that doesn't reset to zero every morning. In a few minutes, I'll share what surprised me most when I started learning how this actually works. And if you want context as you listen, the Freedom Formula Blueprint is waiting in the description below. When people hear digital products, they often imagine complexity. Courses, tech, software, but at their core, digital products are simple. They're a way for packaging knowledge, experience, or solutions in something that can be shared repeatedly. So no inventory, no shipping, no physical presence required. And that matters when energy, time, and clarity matter more than the hustle. Why this model fits the season of our life. This wasn't about chasing trends. It was about alignment. Digital products made sense because they don't rely on physical stamina. They don't require constant availability, and they can grow without growing your workload. And perhaps most importantly, they respect your time. I know this can sound abstract when you first hear it. That's exactly why the blueprint exists. Not to convince you of anything, but to show you how the pieces fit together in plain language. You will find it below if you want to explore it at your own pace. 3 types that actually make sense. You don't need dozens of ideas. There are 3 types of digital products that work especially well at this stage in life: guides and PDFs. They solve one specific problem. People don't want more information, they want clarity. Templates and checklists, they save a lot of time. People will gladly pay to avoid confusion and guesswork. Training and frameworks. This is where experience becomes an asset. If you've lived something, solved something, or figured something out, you already have something to share. This isn't about being techy. Digital products are not about being technical. They're about being clear. You don't need to know everything. You just need to understand one thing well enough to help someone else. The moment it clicked for me, the turning point wasn't income. It was relief. The relief of realizing I could build something once and let the system handle the repetition. Not because I didn't want to work, but because I didn't want to exhaust myself proving that I could. That's when the panic softened, not because everything was solved, but because I finally had options. Why options matter more than perfection. At this stage in life, options create peace, not pressure, not urgency. Peace. Because when you have options, you can make decisions from clarity, not fear. If this conversation is helping things click for you, the Freedom Formula Blueprint walks you through step by step what matters, what doesn't, and where to start. No pressure. It's there in the description whenever you're ready. This is a skill set, not a scheme. Digital income isn't luck. It's a skill. And skills don't expire. Once you understand how this works, you can apply it again and again. That's what makes it valuable. If you're wondering, is it too late? Let me say this gently. It's not too late to build something that fits who you are right now. It's not too late to choose alignment over exhaustion, and it's not too late to trade panic for peace. One thoughtful step at a time. If you'd like a clearer understanding of how this works without hype or overwhelm, I've linked the free Freedom Formula Blueprint in the description below. It's simply the starting point I wish that I had sooner. Before you go, I want to leave you with this. Retirement confidence doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from knowing you're no longer standing still, from taking one thoughtful step instead of waiting for the perfect moment. You don't need to rush. You don't need to reinvent your life. You just need a path that fits who you are now. And if this conversation helped you see things a little more clearer today, there's more coming. More clarity, more calm, more ways to build options without burning yourself out. I'll see you in the next video.